Hey there, Kelsey here. Most people think that if they just find the right partner, the right friends, the right place in the world to live, maybe if they make the right amount of money, then they'll finally feel settled or secure. Like they've arrived someplace safe where they can finally belong and relax. But if you've ever noticed that even when things are good, you still feel a little unstable underneath it all, like your sense of safety, connection, or worth could shift based on how someone responds to you or doesn't, then this video is going to explain why. If you have been following along, a couple of videos ago, we talked about how personal growth can actually disrupt your sense of belonging. In the last video, we talked about how real sustainable expansion happens within your nervous system by stretching it in a really specific way. Not too little and also not too far. But here is the problem. If your sense of belonging isn't stable, your nervous system won't let you stay expanded. And before we go into that deeper into this next piece, there's something really important we need to understand first. What actually creates stable belonging in the first place? So there is a difference. There's a difference between being accepted and actually feeling like you belong. Most people are trying to build a life where they feel chosen, loved, supported, understood, but they're trying to get that experience almost entirely from the outside, from their relationships, from external validation, being wanted or needed. And it can work temporarily. But the problem is if your sense of belonging exists externally, then that implies your nervous system is constantly scanning your environment. It's constantly scanning, asking, am I still okay here? Am I still wanted? Or did I say something weird 3 hours ago? Because that's not belonging. That is conditional safety. And this is where a lot of people get stuck. Because even as your life expands, your capacity to feel safe inside of it does not. So you end up overthinking relationships, feeling anxious when connections shift. Maybe you're needing a lot of reassurance. You could be avoiding honest yet difficult conversations or quietly spiraling when connection isn't there. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because your system hasn't learned how to feel I'm still held even when no one outside of me is holding me. And I'm curious, as you're listening to this, do you notice where this shows up for you? Is it in relationships, at work, with certain people, maybe family members? Just take a second and actually let yourself notice that, because awareness is where this all begins. Okay, and then oftentimes when we're talking about the subject of internal belonging, people's immediate response is, okay, great, but I don't know how to give that to myself, which makes a lot of sense. Because unless you had really emotionally attuned caregivers or someone consistently modeled this behavior for you, then no one ends up teaching you how to create that experience internally. So it ends up sounding like, just love yourself, honey. Just be there for yourself. Or maybe just learn to be your own best friend. And then your nervous system is like, cool, what does that even mean? I know I've been there before. But here's what I want you to understand is that you don't actually have to learn this from scratch. You already know how to create belonging. You just haven't directed it inward yet. Think about how you show up for someone that you care about. A child, a partner, a pet, one of your clients. Your tone softens. You slow down. You begin to really listen. You become present. You care about how they feel. You don't rush them. And you certainly don't shame them for needing some support. You meet them where they're at, and that energy right there, that is what belonging feels like. The issue isn't that you lack the ability to feel or be supported. It's that your identity has only ever expressed that outwardly. You've become someone who knows how to hold others, but not someone who includes themselves in that same level of care. So then when you feel lonely, overwhelmed, or ungrounded, there's no internal relationship to meet you. So instead of asking, how do I love myself? I want to invite you to try this instead. When a part of me feels alone, criticized, or lost, can I offer it the same energy I give to someone that I care about? Not perfectly, not all at once, just a small shift. Maybe it sounds like, hey, I'm here. I see your struggle. I see your pain. You don't have to go through this alone. Or it makes sense that you feel this way. Or how can I best support you? And if that feels uncomfortable or even a little fake, it doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. You know, for me, recording these videos has been an example of this in real time. There has been a part of me that feels stretched being seen in this way by sharing my thoughts and not knowing how they're going to land. I've felt my nervous system want to pull back or second guess or retreat or question, want to stay smaller. But internal belonging in a moment like that looks like being able to just stay present with myself in it. It's not overriding it. It's also not forcing myself through it, but also not abandoning myself by totally pulling away either. It's by just staying present with what's happening internally. So again, discomfort in regards to building internal belonging doesn't mean that something's wrong or fake. It usually means there's a part of you that doesn't feel safe receiving that yet. Like you're stretching just outside your nervous system's comfort zone. And that part of you needs attention as well. And we're going to talk more about that in the coming videos. Okay, so internal belonging isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming someone who can stay present with themselves, especially in the moments where you would normally reach outside of yourself for stability. Because the goal is not to stop needing connection. We're always going to need connection. The goal is to stop feeling like you lose yourself when it's not there. So the more your life expands, the more important this becomes. Because if your identity is still built on external belonging, then growth will always feel destabilizing to some extent. You'll keep adjusting, overextending, ignoring, or shrinking, or even just overworking to stay connected. But when belonging starts to exist internally, you don't have to chase it. You don't have to perform for it. You don't have to hold your breath waiting for it. You can expand and actually stay there. As you move through your week, I want to invite you to gently notice when something starts to feel off, when you feel disconnected or uncertain or a little unsteady. Do you immediately reach outside of yourself? Do you pick up your phone, reach for a beverage, overeat, undereat, online shop, or doom scroll? Or when you notice that impulse, can you begin to turn inward even just a little? And if this resonates with you, I would really love to hear from you. Where do you notice relying on external belonging the most? Or is there something else that stood out to you in our video today? Please feel free to share in the comments below. And if you're interested in this sort of work, then do stick around by liking and subscribing. Each week, we're continuing to unpack the different layers of embodied identity expansion and what it really takes to grow in a way that your system can actually sustain. Next week, we're going to continue to build on this idea of internal belonging. We're just going to expand on it a little bit more. I'm also taking a few new clients right now. So if you're interested in working together, then you can check out my website at 46and2therapy.com, and I will also link it below.